All right, welcome into another episode of Power 5 Picks. We are doing our college football conference predictions and preview. We are on to the Big 12 or the Big 16 as it is now. Again, quick reminder, new teams, new conference realignment. Big 12 has swallowed a lot of these Pac 12 teams. So Utah, Arizona, Colorado, and Arizona State have joined from the Pac 12. And if you remember last year, they added a couple of American teams. So we have UCF, Cincinnati, Houston, and BYU. So a completely different looking Big 12 conference. They do have five ranked teams: Utah's 12, Kansas State 18, Oklahoma State 17, Kansas 22, Arizona 21. A lot going on in this conference. A lot that I feel like me and you, Ethan, are kind of in agreement is a lot that's unknown. Probably not my favorite conference to talk about. It seems like it's kind of just a guess. But Ethan, welcome. How you feeling about the Big 16 this year?
I think the two biggest names that are no longer in the conference, Texas and Oklahoma, is it's just super odd to get used to. Yeah, I'm curious to see how this conference goes. I mean, just looking at the odds right now on DraftKings, it's just weird to see Utah favored to win the Big 12. It's just it's weird. But yeah, of the four conferences, this is them and the ACC are both pretty strange. Yeah, you and I know we don't follow Big 12 and ACC quite as much as we do Big 10 and SEC, just based on location, teams we root for, and then obviously SEC is kind of king of college football. But yeah, an interesting conference. I'm kind of excited to see how it plays out this year.
Yeah, one thing that I'm kind of noticing in this conference is it's pretty much up in the air. We're going to get into the odds right here. Utah is a favorite to win it, like you said, at plus 320. Kansas State right behind them at plus 380. Then we got a handful of teams that it looks like Vegas has no idea where to put them. Oklahoma State plus 750, UCF plus 900, Kansas plus 950, Iowa State plus 950, Arizona plus 1100, and then it really falls off after that. But there's like six or seven teams that I think are in contention this year, and then everyone's talking about it. Colorado is plus 2,800, quite a ways down on that list. But from what I'm seeing in this conference and in these new teams, I really think from the Big 12's last couple years and then the Pac 12 is this going to be the new zero defense conference. There's going to be scores 70 to 50 in games in this conference. It's not going to be fun to watch. I think it's going to be full of frauds. Again, we do have that new 12 team playoff. So at least one of these teams is going to get in, probably two. I doubt three, but two of these teams are going to get into the college football playoff. And I think they're going to have fraud written all over them, unless it's Utah. So that's going to bring me right into Utah. It's theirs to lose. Utah is the one Pac-12 that actually plays defense. Them in Oregon, their offense is good enough. They have Cam Rising, who is about 45 years old. He knows how to do it. He didn't play at all last year with a blown out knee, but he's back. I loved him 2 years ago when Utah upset USC twice. Actually won the Pac-12, I believe, 2 years ago when Cam Rising was healthy. So this is Utah's to lose. They can stop the other teams defensively. They can score. So I think it's pretty much clear as day, in my opinion, that Utah is going to walk away with this. Um, I do think there is a couple teams though that's worth a sprinkle, just because I do think you're getting great value. I love Arizona, and I know I am not a huge fan of the Pac-12, but last year Arizona kind of started to figure their way out of the Pac-12, and I know Arizona's not a football powerhouse, but they were starting to win games that they shouldn't. They were blowing out teams that they were multiple point underdogs, and they were winning by 21 points. And then they got a great quarterback in Fafita, or I believe is his name. Really dual threat quarterback. So Arizona at a plus 1100. I don't hate it. I also don't hate their win total at 7.5. Another big name, UCF, again, new to the conference. This is going to be their second season. Have KJ Jefferson, the big quarterback from Arkansas, dual threat quarterback. That's going to be an interesting dynamic for UCF. Kansas State, new quarterback. Oklahoma State has Bauman, who I think has played on about every single team in the country, including Michigan. Kansas has a very dynamic quarterback in Daniels. Very well could be in the Heisman race, as well as Cam Rising. and from Fida. So there's a lot of offensive power here. But I think it's clear as day that Utah's going to walk away with this. But I don't mind Arizona. I really don't mind possibly a Kansas in there too. They're going to have the offense to do it. Defensively is going to be where it struggled. And then I guess my one sleeper to win this conference outright would be West Virginia. Very tough place to play. I think besides Utah, probably has the toughest home field advantage in the new Big 12. Quarterback is a Green who's had plenty of experience, and I just think they have a decent shot. Plus 1,800, I wouldn't mind throwing $5 on that for them to win the Big 12. Kind of went on a rant there. But what are you seeing in regards to the outrights in this conference?
Yeah, I mean, I'm right with you. You really couldn't have said it better. Even took the words right out of my mouth. This is Utah's conference to lose. To be honest, I'm not super excited about even testing the waters with anyone other than Utah. I do think Utah wins this conference. I don't like K-State, and I'm kind of confused why K-State is that much bigger of a favorite over Oklahoma State, UCF, and Kansas. Obviously, lost Will Howard, quarterback, to Ohio State, starting a freshman quarterback, which I guess I maybe just don't know enough about him. Maybe he's, the up and coming Trevor Lawrence or Caleb Williams or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to try to pick a team outside of Utah, maybe Oklahoma State if they get their running game going with Ollie Gordon, and he could be in the Heisman candidacy if he has an explosive year there for them. I can't see Kansas winning it, but with Jalen Daniels, I think he is probably the most electric player in this conference. So it's hard to count them out. It's hard for me to see Kansas actually winning the Big 12. But yeah, with Cam Rising back, I mean, the last time he was healthy and played, they should have beat Ohio State in that bowl game. I think it was not the college football playoff, but the biggest
Rose
bowl.
Bowl.
Yeah. I arguably think Utah was probably the fifth best team in the country that year. You mentioned it Rising out all last year, but I think with Rising back, I think this is Utah's conference to lose. I like Utah basically every face of the board here. I think Utah ends up winning this conference.
Yeah, I believe that was the final time or the last time we saw Cam Rising. It was that Ohio State game. I believe he tore his ACL like the second quarter, and they still hung in there. I think they lost, or maybe it was later in the game, but I think they lost like 42-40 or something like that. I think it was a pretty high scoring back and forth game. But yeah, Cam
48-45 is what I have in my head, but
okay.
I had Utah in that game. That's why I remember it.
Yeah, and that was the last time we saw him, and if he stayed in that whole game, I do think Utah probably squeaks that one out and beats Ohio State. I agree. Utah is just too good for the rest of these teams, and again, without Texas, without Oklahoma, the next best, Kansas State. I mean, probably the best coach is Oklahoma State, but they're always, I don't know, they're always going to lose one game that they shouldn't. I think we got to get to the elephant in the room, and that is Colorado. I know me and you both heavily faded Colorado last year, and it worked out great. They went 4-8. Started the season off hot, got to getting ranked, and we just faded the hell out of them, and then it paid off for us. I want to do the same thing this year because again, I do think Colorado is very overrated. I think they're public as public can get, but I'm just seeing that the Vegas isn't budging at all. They don't care what's going on here. I think Vegas is kind of overplaying it a little too much. So I don't want to go on paper saying this, but I do think there might be some small value in Colorado, especially their win total. Again, I love fading this team. I think they're overrated. They have a very tough schedule. They play all 5 ranked teams. Yeah, 2 of them on the road, 3 are at home. Also play at UCF, at Nebraska. Very tough schedule, but I don't know. I think it's almost becoming too popular now to bet against Colorado. And I'm just trying to find that clear little window of when I can actually bet them. Because again, I love fading this team. They're very public usually, but and I know you have a lot of insight on Colorado. What's your thoughts of this team this year? Are they going to do anything, or are they just going to be smoke and mirrors like they were last year?
Yeah, so this is weird. I know we really did not talk much before filming about the Big 12, but we are truly eye to eye with basically everything we're saying. I so bad want to fade Colorado, but you're 100% right. I think the number is right on their win total. I think their number is right on them to win the conference. It's 28-1. I mean, they're not going to do it. Their playoff number, I think, is 14-1. Again, they're not going to do it. And honestly, I think the only people putting money on Colorado anymore are just there's a lot of dumb people in the sports betting industry. Like there just are. I mean, I'm in plenty of groups where I just see just really uneducated things going on, and I think that's who's betting Colorado at this point. They want that to happen, but I think the sharp bettors and guys like us who are a little bit more knowledgeable. I think it's it was a fun fade last year, a fun story, but I think now it's just I don't know. I think they're priced right. I think it's kind of in the past, and just me being a huge spot better as I am, I don't think teams are going to take Colorado quite as seriously as they did last year. I think last year they were probably annoyed with all the hype they were getting, probably wanted to go in there. Might have had that game circled on the schedule. This year, I don't think so much. What did Colorado win? 4 games last year? Three,
Yep.
4, 5,
Four.
somewhere in there. Yeah. Um, I don't think teams are going to take them that seriously. I think the teams that played them last year, especially, Nebraska's probably going to take them seriously because Colorado beat them last year. But Colorado State, I believe, ended up beating them in overtime last year. Some of the teams that already had success against them, I don't think it's circled on their calendar, especially now with all these new teams coming in. Utah is going to be a circled game. Arizona is going to be a circled game. I just don't think they're going to care as much about Colorado. So I'm not going to play the over, but I would be hesitant to fade them, and I'd be hesitant to kind of play on them. They're kind of a stay away from me until I really see what's going on. But please, for the love of God, just don't bet them to win the conference. Don't bet them to make the playoffs. Like, you're just throwing money away. You really are.
Yeah, it's just a different dynamic this year with Colorado. Obviously last year, like I said, people, the public, ESPN, everyone was all over Colorado. Like if Colorado goes 3-4-0 this year to start their season, I don't know if they get to the into the rankings. Like last year they won 2 games and were number 12 or whatever they were. Like people were freaking out. Like I just don't see the same hype. So I don't know. It's weird. I know Colorado's still a very public bet team. I know the one guy me and you follow on Twitter posts the most bet team to win the conference or get into the playoff, and number one on both those lists is always Colorado. So people are still betting it. The line's just not moving, and I don't know. I'm not going to get involved in the future market on Colorado, but I could, and I hate to say it, I could get involved in some game spreads. Just because I do think there might be some value. Again, it's going to be, I don't know, it's weird, and I can't figure out what's going on. Really quick episode today. I think we are very efficient. One other thing, since we are Michigan born and raised, past Michigan High School Player of the Year, who actually is a quarterback of Toledo, transferring to Baylor this year, dual threat, kind of much more of a runner, actually, kind of comparable to RG3 back in his Baylor glory days. But Finn is his name. I didn't write down his first name. Maybe a player to watch. I think he might have been MAC Player of the Year last year. Helped Toledo to be the team that they were. So just had to point that in there for us Michigan guys. But besides that, do you have anything to add about this Big 12, Big 16, new Pac-12, whatever you want to call it, conference?
Yeah, I'll keep it short because we're on pace for this is record time for us getting in some quick episodes here. But I touched on it. Utah, I just like Utah in every aspect this year. Minus 155 over 9.5 wins on DraftKings. Shop around, you can probably get that a little bit lower. I like it. I think they're a 10 or 11 team or win team this year. Utah to make the playoff at 2-1. I like that. And then Utah to win the conference plus 320. I like them all. Now, I don't think I'm going to bet any of them, but I'm not a huge college football future better anyway. But yeah, I think it's Utah's conference to win this year.
Yep, I completely agree. We have one more conference left, and that is the all and powerful SEC. Not sure when we're going to get to that one. We do have college football this weekend. But yeah, college football is here. So make sure you start preparing for the greatest time of the year. Again, please look at our other conference videos. We had the Big 10, ACC, and now the Big 12 previews are out. Just one left in the SEC. Again, please like and subscribe as well. It helps us to continue doing this and continue to provide you guys with our valuable insights. But I appreciate you guys. Good luck. Enjoy the weekend. College football is here.
You better start listening to the Better in Green podcast. You will not regret it. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And hey, I'm Dean Blandino.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? Listen in and cash out. That's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover old spot from the bottom to the top. Hey, shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome, welcome to our podcast. Better in Green.